Okay. Hello. While we're waiting, I'd love to know where you're from. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada, and it's not snowing. We did have snow last week for the first time this season, but the roads are all clear now. So where are you from? What part of the world? And is it snowing? If it's sunny, I don't want to hear about it. Especially if it's sunny and warm. I don't need to know about that. But where are you from? I don't think I've done a live in almost a week now. I think it's the longest I've gone in 2.5 years, whatever. I think it's the longest I've gone. Almost a week without doing a live. I used to do them every single day. I don't do that anymore, but yeah. Delaware, USA. Hello, Jam G84. Calgary, Alberta. I used to visit family there back in early 70s. But haven't been there since. Whenever I travel, I don't travel a lot. I don't think I like traveling all that much, actually, or else I'd be doing it. Yeah, I don't tend to travel in Canada. I tend to go, far and wide kind of thing. It's weird. So where are you from? We're just waiting. Very small group so far. I like to get a few more people in before I get going. Oh, it's Super Bowl too. I just remembered that. Niagara, Canada, a lot of snow. Ooh. Yeah, I'll bet it would be. Yeah, we had some snow earlier last week. Yeah, Super Bowl Sunday. Forgot about that. That's okay. I remember in Australia, when there was some big rugby league thing going on, that's when I used to do all my shopping. I'd be like the only one in the store. It was funny. Super Bowl's on, might not have a lot of people here in Nebraska. That's right. But I mean, there's people like me who don't watch sports. So Auburn, New York. Okay, so that's why. We're going to have a really small group. So that's not bad. So you'll probably get all your questions answered. So we'll get going with your questions. Just a sec. I've got something. Sorry, YouTube's just, they always, all these platforms keep coming up with new stuff. And then of course they flash it on so that you can't look past it. So that's okay. How'd you handle going from extreme heat in Australia to the extreme cold in Canada? Well, I live in Vancouver. It's not that cold here, but compared to the rest of Canada. But yeah, I started in Canada and then I was in Australia for 20 years. I loved Australia. I only left because my mom was ill. But, it's two beautiful countries, so it was okay. But yeah, I definitely miss the weather there. And I know people that I talked to who did move to Australia. Some of them missed having seasons because you don't really have seasons there. And, but yeah, I didn't miss it one little bit. LeClaire, is that Iowa? Could be Idaho. I don't know I think Iowa is I-O. So is that Idaho? Sorry, I don't know. Mountain Center, California. I've heard that before, but I don't quite know where that is. Okay. This is Frugal Mama Wolf on YouTube. You say to make it happen with toddlers for X, we're leaving in 5. Oh, okay. For example, we're leaving in 5. I got to think while I'm reading. If not ready, pick them up and go. Do you do that with 4 or 5-year-olds too? No, I don't. Or do you use the board and consequences? Yeah. Yeah, I don't do that with older kids. It's only with toddlers. They're little enough to pick up. Iowa. So I had it right, did I? No, I didn't. I said it was Idaho. Now I get mixed up. I can't tell the difference between Iowa, Idaho, and Ohio. I don't know why. I always got it mixed up. Oh, someone's from Ohio. I don't know why. I just get all those mixed up. Okay, so Yeah, actually, when I came into this, I remembered the Super Bowl was on. And I thought I remember doing it. I did it another year too on a Super Bowl. It was very quiet. It's very quiet. Okay, so I'm just waiting for your questions. If not, I'll just ramble on a little bit. Something that's a common theme that's been coming up in our podcast comments is that it just makes common sense. That's all I work with here. There's no theory. Well, there is, I guess, but it's just common sense. Everything I teach, if you think about it, like I often tell parents, like they say, you shouldn't have done that if you do that again. And I often say stuff like this. How would you feel if someone went in your face and said that? It's the same thing. It's just common sense. Kids aren't any different from us, from adults, really, in a lot of ways, but they just can't articulate how you're making them feel when you do something like that. How would you feel if someone got in your face and did that? Yeah, wouldn't probably go over very well. And that's same with the reward charts. They're a total disaster. They weren't great at school, but I don't teach teaching. I don't know anything about it. But yeah, I just teach parenting. Could you imagine it, like with reward charts for good behavior, which is a huge mistake? Could you imagine, let's say you're a woman and your husband says he gets a reward chart for you. You've been on good all day. I'm going to give you a gold star. I can just think of a few choice words you'd probably say to him. It's the same thing. So just, if you're really in question about what you're doing with your kids, sometimes that's the way to go, is think, how would I react if I was spoken to like that? But you don't need a leader like they do. So it is different, okay? You don't need someone telling you when to go to bed and all that stuff. So it is different. But a lot of it, you can actually think, how would I feel? I feel intimidated when someone points in my face. Oh, I don't feel intimidated. I feel like grabbing that finger and yeah. I'm not a physical person, but yeah, I wouldn't feel intimidated. Whenever someone's nasty or does anything rude like that, I always I know when I was younger, I used to take it personally. Now I just think, what a jerk. Like I put it on them because, yeah, I think that's just part of getting older. You know who you are. Like, yeah, that wouldn't bother me. I would just think, what a jerk. But it is kind of a natural reaction when someone said something rude to you to sort of think, what did I do to cause that? But yeah, I don't do that too often anymore. Although I don't get too many snotty people anymore in my life. You get older. People don't tend to come after you when you get older either. You get some respect. Okay, this is from Heidi McLaughlin on YouTube. I'd love your advice on a kid who gets anxious if things don't go exactly as she thinks they should. Example, leaving at exactly 8 a.m. for school. Yells at little sister if she's dragging her feet. Well, I don't know how old she is, though. I don't know. I'd need to know. Let's just say she's 8 years old. I'd say, look, I'm the parent here. Let me worry about that. So, yeah, she's kind of trying to take charge of that. But then again, why is she getting anxious? Are you sometimes late and it causes her some anxiety? Are you the cause of it? Like, do you sometimes get her to school late and she gets in trouble for it? So that'd be the first thing I would think. As, have I caused her this anxiety? I don't know why I'm getting more questions on YouTube than on social media because it's Super Bowl. So I'm just getting fewer people. This is Frugal Mama Wolf again. When 2-year-old is told to sit by me for 5 minutes for hitting, she starts to tantrum. Oh, you can't do that with a toddler. No. 2-year-old, I wouldn't do that. A toddler is under the age of 3. I just use consistent corrective action. I don't say you're going to sit with me for 5 minutes. If I need to hang on to her, I will hold on to her for 5 minutes. But I don't necessarily say you're going to sit here for 5 minutes. They're not really processing it properly. But yeah, I would just remove her from the fun or remove fun from her for a period of time. I'm a nana, so am I. Although I call myself grandma, but I'll end up being whatever my granddaughter calls me. I don't care. The other grandmother and I asked her about that. I said, do you want to be nana or grandma or granny? I don't care. And neither of us care. So I do like the sound nana, though. I've loved using what I learned from you. Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you, Esther. Esther? I always call Esther's Esther, but it's not. It's Esther, isn't it? I've never known an Esther, so that's why I don't say it properly. And I get clients all over the world. And you know what, these names, I mean, some of them just throw me for a loop. And I have to look up the phonetic pronunciation of it before I meet the client. How often do you think I say it right anyway? Pretty bad. No, she just likes being first in line. Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, I would just say, look, I'm in charge here. Lighten up. Okay. That's enough. I would just say, that's enough. We'll go when we go. Don't talk to your sister like that. Whatever. You can, I don't know how old they are, though. Oh, from the UK, it's nearly 2 a.m. What the heck are you doing up at 2 a.m.? God, I can't stay up past 10. Do you have any advice for parenting foster children? Oh, you might be up with kids. No, it's all kind of the same thing and yet not. Because I don't know if you just have temporary, sort of foster right now, or if you're fostering to adopt. I've got clients right now, a few of them actually, who are fostering to adopt. And then I go hardcore right into parenting stuff. But with fostering, and if it's just a temporary placement, it's a little bit different. It just is. So no, I don't have any. That would be more coaching. I'd have to assess the situation. I'll tell you why. I don't even know if I should, but it kind of is something like this. You don't, okay, if you know it's a temporary placement, you don't want to get too connected as a parent because it's too hard when you have to let them go. Doesn't mean that you don't love them up and all that, but it's just, it can be a little bit different. You're trying to build fortitude and make sure that they know they're going to be moving on and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's tough. I watched one of your lives. This is Katina Brown. I watched one of your lives, a lot of them, as I love what you have to say. But in one, you said children are born. Oh, this is going to be good. I can tell. With 3 things, and I'm forgetting exactly what this. Oh, I thought you were going to challenge me. I love being challenged. There's 4 things, actually. One is tantrums, one is hitting, one is running, and one is climbing. Often runners and climbers it's the same thing, but not always. It means they have no physical fear. They're more the adventuresome ones. They're the ones who are really good at gymnastics and that sort of thing usually too. But yeah, they're just born that way. They're either going to do those things or they're virtually never going to do them. My kids had one. My son had tantrums. My daughter had none of them. And I evidently had none of them either. But those are just 4 annoying things that they're born to do or they're not. Doesn't mean my kids were perfect by any means, but the only one that I got with my kids was my son had tantrums. I have a 3-year-old adopted from birth and a 1-year-old. I'd love any advice and tips on for when and how. Were you here the other day? Oh, I know you're adopted, so speak highly of being adopted, and I hope 3-year-old. Yeah, it's not so much, well, I'll be honest with you. I always thought being adopted made me more special because my mom sold it to me that way. She said, you were chosen, you weren't just had. So, she was trying to build it up, right? Because and I remember back in the day, I was adopted in 1960, and I was brand new, and I was 3 days old, I think. So back in 1960, you won't believe this anyway, but here in British Columbia, where I was born, the adoption was not final until the first birthday, so that the birth mother could still change her mind. And my mom said to my dad and also to the social worker, she goes, well, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to hold back, or do I just fall in love with her? Like, what if she's taken away from us? And they both said, just go for it. Just assume you're going to keep her. But my mom said that was a first birthday like no other. So how stupid is that, eh? That they gave them a whole year. Now I don't know how long they give them, but it's certainly not a year. If any, I don't know if they give them any time, maybe a week or so. I don't know. And I'm sure it's different everywhere. Anyway, so yeah, just make it sound like it's something special because, it was chosen. You were chosen, but don't sell it like my mom did, because she got phone calls from all the mothers from the neighborhood. Can you please tell Lisa to stop telling our kids that they're not as special as she is just because they were had? So yeah, mom kind of had to backpedal a little bit. They're special too. But you said yeah, you're all special. But I would have been like 2 or just turned 3. I was really little when she told me at such an age I didn't even know what it meant, for a long time. But I knew I was different. And plus it was talked about a lot because secrets imply shame. So we talked about being, I was the adopted one. I looked very different from the rest of the family. I have very distinctive green eyes and huge hair, and no one else in the family had either one of those. So, but I definitely look different from everybody. So it came up a lot. And I remember someone even said once when they met my family, they said, "Oh, were you adopted or something?" I said, "Yeah, I was." And they, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I said, "No, I love being adopted. There's no shame in it." So yeah, it came up a lot. Don't make it something that you just tell them but don't tell anyone. It's okay to brag about it, like I did. There was another kid in my school who was adopted, never talked about it. It was a source of shame or a source of, it just was not talked about. I don't know if it was shame, but it certainly wasn't pride like I had. Yeah. I watched something interesting today. Sorry, there's a little kid in my hallway. I'm not a doctor, I don't know anything. I have no qualifications for any of this, but I watched, because sometimes I'll work with people and I'll suspect that things are going on with the kid, but I never assess any. What I mean is some diagnoses probably are down the pike with some kids, but I never, unless the parent brings it up, I would never do that. Anyway, I was watching the show today on psychopaths, and it's really a hard thing to diagnose with a kid, really hard. But yeah, it was really fascinating. It's something they're evidently born with. It's not common at all. And it doesn't mean that they're going to turn into serial killers. Or anything like that. It's not always that they are evil. It's just, they just think differently. Their brains are wired differently. It was fascinating. I don't usually watch stuff like that, but I found it really fascinating. I've definitely worked with some kids who had that. I know one for a fact was back in the day when I used to work with kids. And it really made sense once someone told me what she had. I thought, oh, okay. Yeah. It's fascinating how we are definitely born. Some kids are just born different. Some of us are just born different, right? Okay, yes, I have one with all the above. How do you help them learn the tools to slow down and all of that? Okay. Now, you said all of those. So that would be hitting, tantrums, running, climbing. That generally just means they're a bit more feisty, a bit more active, right? So yeah, just use all the same methods that I talk about. It doesn't make any difference because really all I'm teaching is your relationship with your kid. And it doesn't matter what they have or what they've got going on. Yeah, you're working on your calm leadership. I managed to get respect with all the kids and teenagers I worked with and toddlers. And toddlers are still going to do crazy stuff anyway. But I managed to get respect with all of them. And it wasn't because of what they were or what they were like. It was because of me. So think about it that way. It's not them, it's you. So I teach leadership, and that's all I teach. Thanks for turning up on Super Bowl. It's not everyone's in America. What was it called? What was what called? Psychopathy? Yeah, it's just fascinating. I'm always studying human nature and human behavior, but I have no qualifications with any of that stuff. I just find it fascinating. Lots of my clients have kids who have challenges, and I stay out of that. I just teach parenting. But I need to know this stuff, though. The reason I find children so interesting is because we all started out that way. If you can understand your own childhood and how you viewed the world as a child, you can kind of figure out why you are the way you are. Things do come into play. Outside influences do have an effect. But yeah, no, I just find human nature fascinating. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate all your advice. The hitting is definitely slowed down. This is Katina Brown. With your park story, I'm grateful for you. That's the tantrum story, I'm assuming. I've got a couple of swing stories. One's about sharing, though. But the tantrum story. If you look up BratBusters tantrums on any of my platforms, it should come up. But yeah, that's the one I use a lot, that story. Okay. God, I hate talking about this, but I can't believe I'm going to. It's one of my least favorite things to talk about. Any advice for more peaceful meal times for 3 boys, age 5, 7, and 8? We've tried consistent consequences for what seems super long months, but they still don't follow the simple behavior expectations. Put it on the board, follow mealtime routine, and then at the end of the meal, if they don't, there's a consequence. There's lots of different consequences that you can use for that, but basically bum in seat, don't get up, put your dishes in the dishwasher afterwards. Keep it simple to start with. I would just start with that. And I don't discuss the food. Okay, I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't discuss that. But yeah, bum in seat and dishes in the dishwasher when you get up. That's basically it. And I would put little in front of each place setting, a little placard or something, a little reminder or sticky note of the rules. Bum in seat and dishes in dishwasher when you're done, without being told. And I would put that in front of each of them as a constant visual reminder, because it's such a habit bouncing up and down and being rowdy. I don't want to address all the rowdy stuff too. The reason why I hate talking about mealtime, it's one of the hardest things to do, to fix that, because there's so many factors involved. And I got a million different things I could talk about, but yeah, I don't know what you're specifically dealing with. Okay. Today was one of the first days I didn't go to the gym in a very long time, unless I'm really sick. But yeah, I keep thinking all day, why do I feel so off? It's just my morning routine. I start at the gym. I feel really weird today. So yeah, it's funny, morning routine. My morning routine is just like religion to me. But yeah, I didn't go to the gym today. Weird. I wasn't sick or anything. Been doing a lot lately. I just chose to take a day off. That's why I look a little bit confused today. Okay, what do you do for kids that misbehave at school, then like deliberately disobey a teacher and look at them while they are redirecting? At home, we have no issues since implementing your chart. Generally, what happens is you fix the home base and then the school takes care of itself. But I would have the teacher report to me just briefly. Don't bother them too much. They're so busy. Just say, can you just send me a quick email or whatever the communication is that you do? Or when you pick your kid up, just say, like this, we had a bad day. But don't ask the teacher to go on about it. They are so freaking busy all the time. They can't do that with everybody. So anyway, if they're able to do that, just let you know that they had a bad day with your kid. Then when you get home, say, evidently you had a bad day at school. You were disrespecting the teacher, so there's going to be a consequence for that. So keep it all calm like that, like a business transaction. No emotions at all. And then make sure there's a consequence. No, I wasn't. I was being good. The consequence starts now. I do not argue that stuff. Who's more likely to lie, your kid or the teacher? Why on earth would a teacher lie? Every so often, a parent will say to me, I don't think the teacher's telling us the truth. And I said, why on earth would a teacher lie? Plus, they're terrified of losing their jobs because heaven forbid they should say anything that isn't absolutely 100% true, because parents are so quick to blame teachers for everything these days. Teachers do not lie. Or if they do, they could risk losing their job. So yeah, that's why I always believe the teacher, not the kid. But I didn't. I just said she was being So the 15 minutes starts now, the consequence. Make it happen. Just follow through. Follow through. Don't let them sway you. That's just manipulation. I had my first 43. Okay, this is Rebecca Kale. I had my first at 43. He's 2 now. And because I found you, I'm loving and enjoying my little toddler. Aw, so sweet. I'm glad. I want you to raise happy, nice kids. But really, the goal is, for me, is happy family. I want you to be happy too. I want you to have fun with your kids. I had a blast. It was the most fun I ever had. It was the most fun time of my whole life was raising my kids. I would say my favorite ages, I remember this specifically thinking, wow, when it first started, when everything got super easy, they were 3 and 8. I remember that. And then I just loved it after that. Before that, you got a toddler. I'm a safety nut, so I was always watching my toddler. It was a little bit more stressful because it's so, you have to watch toddlers constantly when I was out. So I childproofed the home, but I mean, when I went out with the toddler, I was always sort of watching them like crazy. But yeah, I remember 3 and 8 years old. It was just smooth sailing, like just wonderful. I loved it. It was the most fun time of my whole life. Okay. My almost 2.5-year-old bites herself when she's being told no or knows she's being corrected. I know she does it to distract us from the corrective action. Do corrective action. You just say no and grab her hands and don't allow her to bite herself. If she keeps going like this, turn her around and hold her from behind. Hold her like this, like here, and hold her down, like hold her down here so she can't get at her arms. and just say no and physically hold her just for a minute or so. When she goes to bite again, prevent future bites and just hold her again. She's trying to bite her shoulder, then just, you got to maneuver so that you can physically restrain her. I know it's difficult, but she'll eventually get it. If you look mad or if you move too fast and you look like you're frantic, it won't work. You got to be calm as anything. Toddlers are just going to do what they're going to do. I mean, they're just crazy. You can train them out of it, but it takes a long time. They don't learn the first time, probably the 50th time they'll learn. Okay, these are my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1, childproof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2, set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. Number 3, connect with toddlers in their world, not yours. You don't connect with a toddler at the nail salon. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. They just look at you differently when you do that. Number 4, discipline toddlers in their world. It's sort of similar. They're not about words. They're about actions. These mini therapy sessions discussing what they're doing wrong. It's a pile of crap. That was invented to make moms feel good and to make them feel like they look good when they're doing it. It has nothing to do with the toddler. It's garbage. Okay. Number 5, stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed upstairs. And imagine being in the world for 2 years. In the first year, you were a potato laying on a mattress. They're just forming. They're not thinking a lot before they do stuff. It's just, they're just going to try stuff. Their bodies are new. Their brains are, well, not quite there yet. I always call them crazy, but they just haven't developed sanity yet. They're not there. They haven't developed that source of the ability to reason things out. They haven't developed the impulse control or the ability, that's a hard word for me to say, to stop and think before they act. That kicks in around 3. That's when the behavior board starts. Okay. So I'm just scrolling ahead. Oops. Oh, sorry. Oh, I got to go. I keep forgetting to move. I got to move over to Instagram now because I'm going to run out of time. Won't be able to do TikTok because I go from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. And I'm also on YouTube the whole time. That's where all my lives are saved. Okay. Thanks so much for joining me. I don't think I introduced myself. Isn't that dumb? Anyway, my name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach, a mom. I'm also a grandmother. If you look at my website, BratBusters.com, you can see my free behavior board, my courses, my coaching, and you can listen to our podcast. My daughter and I do that together because she works with me. So thanks so much for joining me. I'm hopping over to, where am I going? Instagram. Bye now. Someone's swearing on there. Facebook is where I get the rudest stuff by far. The nastiest and the rudest stuff. Isn't that funny? It's Facebook. And that's when people use their real names. I find that fascinating. I don't care. They can do whatever they want. Don't bother me. But I would have thought it would have been TikTok, but it's not. Just because TikTok seems to have more younger people in it. And Facebook has the older ones. So yeah, isn't that interesting? Why does my face look red? Don't know. I'm not a makeup person, so. Okay. Oh, good question, Ashley. I will answer that as soon as I introduce myself. I'm just waiting for everyone to turn up. Oh, I got 100 people already, and that's really good for Super Bowl. Okay, so thanks so much for joining me. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mother. I'm also a grandmother. If you go to my website or link above, BratBusters.com, you can see my free behavior board, my courses, my coaching, and you can listen to the podcast. Hi, Vegas. My daughter and I do it together. We just have a blast doing it. Sometimes we have to edit out the giggles as we get going. Okay, I wanted to read this out because it's such a good question or comment. It says, can you speak more about what you love about being with your kids? I am one of those who doesn't always enjoy playing with my kids. I didn't always want to play with them, but we got along so well and they were funny. Like they were just funny. Because I'm very goofy and I raised funny, goofy kids. So we just laughed a lot. That's what was so great about it. And because I was such a strong leader, I didn't have to discipline. So we could just relax. And yeah, so get all that pesky leadership cemented. It really kicks in hardcore, like hardcore sounds weird, but anyway, it really kicks in when they're 3. That's when they really, they just sort of turn a corner at 3. That's the fork in the road. They either get really easy or they can go the other way. It's like, depends on you. Where's your leadership at? If it's really good, they just get easy because they're happier. Kids who are misbehaving are miserable. I wanted happy kids. That's why I looked after their behavior. I made sure I guided them into making good choices And then it was on them. I didn't want to ever tell them what to do. That'd be exhausting. Okay. This is a very good question. It comes up a lot. I don't want to invent leverage, but my son, you can. Well, I'll discuss it. But my son doesn't care about toys much nor screen time. We just play outside. Suggestions, age 3 and 5. Here's what you say. We were going to go outside right now to play, but because you did that, we're going to wait 5 minutes now. You were never going to go outside right now anyway. So start the timer. Give him, like say, we're going to wait for 10 minutes now. It's going to be hell waiting with him for that 10 minutes. Get him all dressed, ready to go outside, and then he has to stand there for like 5 minutes or something. So yeah, that's how it's kind of inventing leverage because you're never going to go outside. Like it doesn't matter when you go outside anyway. But yeah, he won't like that. And you always take it, you're minimizing the fun is sort of the way he looks at that or the way you want him to understand it. But you always take it away at the start, never at the end. Why would you never take it away at the end? You're going to have one hell of a bad night if you have to drag him in at the early. So always postpone the fun at the start. You don't take it away at the end. Okay. 4-year-old always says, I want to hug and kiss whenever he is told to do something. I already know the answer to this. Or in trouble in a manipulative manner. As in, I'm not doing what you said until you do what I want. Say, you're all right. And then just ignore it. I want a hug and a kiss. No, you're all right. Yeah, there's no way. No way. It's pure manipulation. That's not love, by the way. That's not a love kiss or a love hug at all. That's just manipulative. That's all it is. Yep. Just say, you're all right. Later on. Sure. Not right now. Yep. Cut it off. You don't love me. You'll survive. There's no way. That's not love. That's manipulation. You do what I want right now. That's what he can control. He can't control the other, so he's controlling that. He's gotcha. He wouldn't get me with that, I'll tell you. You're all right. You'll survive. But he's going to have a fit. He's going to look like he's really hurt. He's not. A kid once said to me, I don't know what was going on, but I think he grabbed a toy from another kid. So I took it off him and I said, no, it's going back to him. And he goes, you just hurt my feelings. And I said, good. He looked so shocked. I guess no one has ever handled him like that before. Good. Maybe you've learned a lesson then. Congratulate me. Yeah, it didn't go over very well. He did not win. He didn't stand a chance. That was so funny. You have to if you're going to put a question, you have to put it all together with the age. Don't tell me the age later because I won't know what the question was. So yeah, just put it all in one little. Hi, Lisa from Sydney, Australia. That's where my son was born. He was born at Nepean Hospital back in 1989. I arrived in Australia in 1989. And 9 months to the day later, I had my son, my firstborn. Yeah. So I had no time to sort of relax and enjoy Australia as a tourist ever. I was just in the suburbs mothering. Yeah, I was there for about 20 years. 5-year-olds start lying a lot, regardless of follow through and cons. 5-year-olds start lying a lot. Well, you just haven't found the right consequence. So just put down on the behavior board, no lying. But I don't know why he's lying. Is he lying to get out of trouble or just to get attention or what? I don't know. So there's not enough information in there. And I don't know. I don't know why he's lying. But I would just put down no lying and then say, okay, that was a lie. So let's go to the board and no lying. That's your, but I wasn't lying. So your consequences that follow through. If you know he's lying, follow through. But you're not fair. You're not listening to me. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so the consequence is I'm going to get, you see, you're following through with what you're doing. That's what a leader does. A leader makes stuff happen. Ontario, Canada. I haven't been back east, since the 70s, I'm guessing. Yeah. I'm in Vancouver. What to do with a 3-year-old with no matter what you say says, no, you be quiet. No, you stop. So that's the attitude department. It must bother you or else you wouldn't do it. Yeah. He says, no, you be quiet. But you're telling him to be quiet. He doesn't respect you at all. Check out my free behavior board. Go to BratBusters.com. It shows you how to get started with all. It's just common sense. It's just, you make a poor choice, there's a consequence. That's your job as a parent, to have a consequence imposed on the child when they make a poor choice. That's your job. They get that. Or they will. They soon will. Okay, this one, you're not going to like my answer, but I'm going to tell you anyway. 2 years and 11 months. So they're almost 2 year, 11 months. Always ask me to hold. So she's almost 3. Ask me to hold her when I'm holding or feeding the baby brother. How do I say, here we go. How do I say no without hurting her feelings? It's okay if she gets her feelings hurt. Don't worry about that. It's okay that she learns she has to share her parent. There's nothing wrong with that. If that hurts her feelings, the sooner she learns, the better. So don't worry about that. It's okay that they get their feelings hurt. And it's not so much that her feelings are hurt. She just doesn't want to share. That's what it is. So yeah, she'll play the victim card, but don't buy it. She just doesn't like to share. That's okay. The sooner she learns, the better. Don't get pulled into that pleaser parent. Well, I don't want her feelings to get hurt. I don't want her to not want to share. Yeah, don't get pulled into that stuff. It's ridiculous. You know, life isn't fair. Life is full of stuff. You have to share in life. You have to share the road. You have to share the lineups at the supermarket. The sooner they learn this, that it's not all about them, the better. Okay? They've got a sibling that they have to share you with. The sooner they learn that, the better. Oh, okay. I parent the way you do, but dad says I'm mean. He's my stepson. It's creating chaos and I'm losing my mind. That's coaching. I can't discuss that. That's a marriage issue. So, yeah, that's a marriage issue. I'm not a marriage coach, but I'll tell you, I do a lot of that. A lot of that. Because a lot of parents, when they come to me, their marriage is on the rocks a lot of times. And yeah, if it's about the kids, then I can help. Potentially. There's no guarantee with any. We're all human. We're all people. You can't make any guarantees when it comes to human nature. None. Oh God, you're going to hate me. Camille, almost 3-year-old next month, is waking between 3 a.m. wanting to hold hands and cuddle. Only thing that stops it is a bottle of milk. Boy, have they got you figured out. They're working you. Yeah, I don't want to check out the behavior board. You might get some ideas in there, but yeah, they are totally working you. The only thing that'll stop it effectively is being a leader and not being pulled into that. You might want to check out my course for 3 to 12-year-olds. There's a bedtime battles section in there, and that would apply to you. Oh, here again, you got your husband's not doing what I say and you are, but yeah, that's up to him. He's got to learn. You know, I'm amazed how many husbands end up hiring me, and the wife doesn't want to. I would always think it'd be more the wife, but it's not 50-50. It's probably more the wife. But yeah, I'm amazed. You know, men can get this too. It's not usually what I suggest is just have them watch me for a while. No, the pool story. A lot of men relate to that pool story. A lot of dads, they like that. So that's the pool story. If you look up on YouTube, just type in BratBusters pool story. It'll turn up. I wonder if you could just Google that, actually. I'm going to try that. Just set BratBusters pool story. Just because I say it. Oh, yeah. It's the very first thing that pops up is BratBusters pool story. You can just type it in, Google it, and it'll pop up. And a lot of men relate to that one. Like a lot of husbands say, I didn't understand what you were talking about. Like I didn't like you. My wife was trying to sell me on you. And I watched the pool story and I got it. That seems to help them, but whatever. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to touch on this a little bit, but Oh, shoot, I lost it. Oh, here we go. 2.5-year-old. This is from Bay Nude. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sure I said your name wrong. 2.5-year-old. How can I get him ready for daycare? Faster in the morning. It takes 2 to 3 hours. That kid would be sitting in the car seat with nothing but a diaper on and the clothes in the back seat with them. And I would dress them when I get there. I would even maybe bring food and I would feed them when I get there. I'm getting there at the same time every single morning, regardless of their behavior. So have a routine, have a habit, have a structure, and then you just physically force them into the car with basically nothing on. Hike the heat up if you have to. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm getting in that car at the same time every single day, regardless of their behavior. I'm making it happen. That's a 2.5-year-old. That's a toddler. You make it happen. You follow up what needs to be done. Take physical action. Okay? You don't do that with older kids. Do it with toddlers. 4.5-year-old melts down when it's time to leave a play date every single time. It's usually how you react to that. I'd give them a little bit of warning. It's probably not going to help, but say we're going to be leaving in 5 minutes. But I don't, and then ignore whatever they say. If you answer that, you're in trouble. We're going to be leaving in 5 minutes, but we're going to stay in it. I'm not listening. I'm not listening to that. Oh, okay. So 5 minutes is up. Here we go. Let them melt down. Let them melt down. Let them, wherever they lie, let them lie in the front yard or in the car. Drag them out to the car if you have to. Let them melt down. Tantrums usually stop at 3.5, around there. But if he's still having tantrums at this age, it must upset you. It must make you stay a little bit later sometimes. They remember that one time that you give in. Believe me, they remember that. I would never give in. Once I said, I'm going, we're going. I say what I mean and I mean what I say, but I'm careful with what I say. One time, and boy, I'm not perfect, I'll tell you. One time I did something so stupid. We lived in Australia in Brisbane, and down the Gold Coast was Dream World. It's like Theme Park Alley all the way down the Gold Coast, Sea World, Dream World, all these other ones. It's like Disneyland. It's fantastic. My kids hated Disneyland. They said it's nowhere near as good because you just have to wait in lines all the time. I don't know what I was thinking when I took them to Disneyland, because they're Australian kids. They're used to these theme parks without lineups, the same virtually. Anyway, it was funny. So my son was about 4, and a friend and I were driving our kids down to Dream World, and in different cars because we have tons of kids in car seats and that. So my son was miserable for saying he was in a mood. He was the one who had tantrums. It's a temperament. They're not usually as calm as the ones who don't have tantrums. So he was just in a mood. And we're driving down there. When we got down there, he had a miserable look on his face. And I said to him, my friend was right there, and I said, if you don't put a smile on your face, we're driving home right now. And my friend went, oh no, because she knew. And I went, oh no, because if he didn't put a smile on his face, I would have driven home. I guaranteed I would have. And he goes like this, big phony smile. It turned into a real smile, right? Anyway, but yeah, you got to be careful what you say. You got to mean what you say, but be careful what you say. By the way, if you have older kids, I specialize in teenagers. They're my favorite age. So, and everything in between is fine too. So if you have older kids, someone said, I just purchased your boot camp. Which one? Oh, okay. So it's the older one. Okay. Teenage stuff, I only do in coaching right now. One day when I've got time, I will do a course on teenagers. The reason why I never did a course on teenagers, it's really dumb. I don't know why I didn't think of this, but because I specialize in crisis work. So whenever I think of teenagers, I'm thinking, not that most of my clients aren't in crisis, but because that's my specialty, or I started out that way, I thought, well, I can't do a course on teen crisis, right? Because it's, it's crisis work, right? And then I realized most parents aren't in crisis with their teenagers. So I can do a general course. And if you're in crisis with any age and you're really dealing with awful stuff, that would be coaching. But that's why I do specialize in 30-year-olds. If they still live at home and if they're financially dependent upon you, sure. Okay. Teenager refuses to go to important appointments and makes us all late for them all. Yeah, you got to have some leverage. There's got to be, look, as soon as you get in the car, you'll get your phone back. You got to hold the phone till they're ready or something like that. But you're going to be on that behavior board too. Like that's got to be the rule. Then when we need to leave for somewhere, I'm holding your phone till we're in the car. That's what I would do. If you're not able to do that, you got to hire me because that's too much resistance. If they won't give into that, that's too much resistance. So that would be coaching. I'd have to teach you how to earn enough respect to hold that phone. You see, yeah. Oh gosh, no. Amanda, sorry. So I hate it when I already answer. Oh God, no. Haven't even read it yet. Would also love tips on exactly how to build a kid up. It sounds obvious, but beyond telling them what I love about them and makes me proud and loving on them, I don't really get what else. That's okay, but that's not what builds self-esteem and pride. What builds self-esteem and pride is what they earn, what they do, how they act, how they treat people. That is what builds self-esteem and pride. You can tell them they're wonderful, they're special, but what gives them pride is how they act, what they do, how they treat people. It's not your praise of it. They already understand when they're good. It's their own, like I used to tell my kids, never take pride in in a gift you were given. Like if you're really good looking or you're really intelligent, never take pride in that. You're lucky. You just got it, right? It was given to you. But take pride in how you treat people, how you act, what you do. If you're nice, that's what you take pride in. So teach your kids to be nice and they will have pride. Give them something to be proud of. And that is their behavior is all they've got to be proud of. And also play in their world, because there's nothing that makes you feel better about yourself than someone who enjoys your world with you. Like if someone was to ever say to me, hey, hey, I'd love to clean a toilet with you. I would just about die. I would fall in love with that person instantly. I love cleaning. So to be able to share that, no, I wouldn't want anyone cleaning. I want to do it anyway. But I don't want to clean up after anyone either. I don't want to clean up anyone's messes. But yeah, I love cleaning. But it's like there's nothing that makes you feel better about yourself than someone who wants to share your world with you. I do other things other than cleaning, but I do love cleaning. But let's say you're talking to a 5-year-old boy. I always use this example. 5-year-old little boy, and you say to that little kid, you're wonderful, you're special, I love you. I just think you're the most fantastic little kid. I'm going to go do the dishes. This is him. You've just done nothing for him. It's okay, but you haven't really done much for him. You say to that same 5-year-old little boy, hey, what are you doing? Can I play too? Look at the difference. He lights up. Okay. Okay. Life coach question. I'm not a life coach. I'm a parenting coach. Can a parent take pride in their parenting even though they used to make a lot of mistakes before? I feel like I'm doing damage control. Yeah, I'm not into yesterday. I don't even like looking at pictures really. I'm very much a today, tomorrow kind of person. I'm a moving forward all the time. I'm always trying to learn and, whatever. But yeah, so you messed up yesterday. Own it, laugh at it, and move forward. Sure, you got to take the blame for when your kids are bad and take the credit when they're good, because their behavior, I always treat it like this. If they act out, that's on me. If they're good, I take the credit for it too. So yeah, don't take it so seriously. Like what I mean by that is move forward. Don't look back and think, geez, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. I know a lot of my clients want to do that. And I say, yeah, okay, you finished? Can we move on now? I'm a today, tomorrow person. A therapist focuses on yesterday. A coach focuses on tomorrow, today and tomorrow. It's moving forward. Therapists go back. It's just the way it is. So I'm not a therapist. I'm a coach. So yeah, whatever. So you messed up. We all mess up with stuff. So what? You're human. All the shaming and all that crap that goes on out in the world, I don't pay any attention to any of that junk. But I know that people are very swayed when people criticize their parenting or feel judged. Once you're a confident leader, you won't give a crap what anyone says anyway. I remember someone criticized me once. I didn't get much of it, but I was picking up my baby every time he cried or she cried. I can't remember which one. And this person that was nearby said, geez, you're going to spoil that kid. Every time they cry, you pick them up. Must have been my son. My daughter rarely cried. Would have been more. He didn't cry a lot either. But anyway, and she said, you're going to spoil him. And I said, yeah, so what's your point? Like, you can't spoil a baby with love. Is that being spoiled? Like, I pick up babies when they cry. But I remember that. I thought, yeah, I won't tell you what I thought about her, but yeah, so what's your point? Boy, she backtracked. You're going to get people who are going to judge you in life. And yeah, I won't go on about that. I have a whole spiel on that. Don't get pulled into it. Is there a leadership boot camp? Yep, that's my boot camp. Well, it's the boot camp courses. I have 2 of them. They're courses. I'm actually in the process right now. I'm in big trouble with my daughter because I haven't finished them. We're redoing a lot of the course. It's going to stay. You're going to get it anyway. Like what I mean is, don't worry, it's no more money. Someone said, is it going to cost more? No. We're just always trying to beef up the course, make it better. Because if people tell us there's something in the course or we've missed something, we're going to fix it. Like we take it all in and we're going to fix it. One thing that we decided we wanted to do is the course is just written material in the boot camp courses, but we do have a lot of videos thrown in. Right. But they're sort of an addition to the course. We're going to change that. And the whole course, you can either watch it on video or you can read it or you can do both. The videos will be a complete course also, but they'll be the same. It'll all be together. You can do whatever you want. You can watch the videos and listen. I'll probably put more in the videos though, because I'll put a little more stories in there and that, because it's easier to talk a lot rather than write a lot. So, but yeah, I'm going to get that done. Don't tell my daughter I haven't done it yet. She already knows. I'm always in trouble with her. She's very driven and a bit lazier. She does all the planning for the business and all the marketing. So she tells me what to do, and I usually do it. Oops, I got to move over to TikTok now if you want to join me over there. Oh, I hit 600,000 here on Instagram, I think 2 weeks ago. Like, wow. That happened in about a year and a couple of months. So yeah, thanks so much for your support here. That's fantastic. My biggest platform is TikTok, but Instagram, I had no idea that would pick up. Facebook's going really well too, but I had no idea. But Instagram's really surprised us because we just didn't expect that to happen so fast. Anyway, thanks so much for your support. Always appreciated. I'm 64. I've been doing this for 20 years, but I really took off, I'd say 2 or 3 years ago. Started on TikTok, and I just went hard on TikTok, and it changed my whole life. And now my daughter's with me, working with me, and yeah, it's just been unbelievable. And it's not, I like business. It's not that. It's the fact that I feel like I'm making a difference, because this is a passion. It's not just a business. Believe me, I've had lots of ups and downs in the last 20 years of my business. I only stuck with it because I believe in this. I want you all to enjoy parenting like I did. So, but anyway, it's a passion, and I take it very seriously, and I love it. So it's more of a passion than a business. It happens to be both. But anyway, okay, thanks so much for joining me. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach, a mom, and a grandmother. If you go to BratBusters.com, you can see my free behavior board, my courses, coaching, or you can listen to our podcast. My daughter and I do it together. So I'm hopping over to TikTok now, and I'm on YouTube the whole time. Happy parenting. Geez, I blathered on a lot there, didn't I? Okay. Tend to blather. I'm not good at night. I'm just not as good at night. Plus, I didn't go to the gym today. I feel just discombobulated. I maybe skip the gym 3 days a year, including Christmas Day. And today was one of them, for no great reason. Just felt weird. I'm very habitual. Okay. I can more easily listen than to read, though. Yeah, me too. That's why we're going to do that. There's a lot of videos in there. We're not too sure if we're going to get rid of all those ones, because I don't want it to look messy. We just want it to be, here's the written, here's the video. And then we'll probably still keep in all the group sessions that we did. We only did that a couple times just to market test it and see how people were feeling about it. But anyway, that's the videos where I did group coaching. That's not a regular thing at all. I don't know if we'll ever do that again. By the way, with the podcast, it's going amazingly well. And we're going to be inviting people to come in. If you want to be part of the podcast, it'll be like coaching, really. My daughter won't be in on it. It'll just be you and I. So you at home on your screen and me at home on my screen. And we'll take that and we don't post them all. If we don't think it's going to appeal to the masses, then we won't air it. But if you want to be on a podcast with me, let me know. And if we do discuss things, I'm sure my daughter and I are very, very respectful. If there's something that you've decided later on that you don't want in the podcast, you'd have to let us know before it goes out, obviously, and we'll cut that out. So, but anyway, we'll figure all that out. But if you're interested, check that out. It's on my website, BratBusters.com. And did I introduce myself yet? Anyway, I'm Lisa. I'm a mom, parenting coach, and a grandmother. If you go on BratBusters.com, you can see my free behavior board, my courses, my coaching, and you can look at the podcast. Okay. What's your opinion on timeouts? I hate timeout. I can't stand it. I think it's mean. You go over there, you're not even worth talking to. I think it's horrible. I can't stand it. So there's my opinion on that. There's 3 things I hate that are really commonly used. One is timeout. One is distraction, because you never distract with broccoli. So they're doing something bad and you use distraction. Here's a candy, it's always a bad thing. So in other words, you just rewarded the bad behavior. The worst one is the countdown. If they're doing something bad and you say, you better stop that by the time I count to 3 or else you're in big trouble. There's no consequence if they stop at 3 and they've just learned all they have to do is keep kicking their little brother more times until you get to 3. Where's the lesson? There is none. None. You've just taught them it's okay to be rotten in the short term, just not in the long term. So. I was talking to someone. Oh, shoot. I didn't get their permission. Darn it. Oh. Every so often I'll talk to a client about something that's really good. And if I don't ask for their permission to discuss, I never use names, obviously, but I didn't ask for their permission. Darn it, darn it, darn it. I would have liked to have talked about that. Anyway, I'll try and remember next time to ask them if I can talk about it. Just something came up that was really, it's kind of a bit of I thought, oh, that's interesting. And I've never really discussed it much. So I'll ask that parent next week, hopefully, or this week. I will tell you something funny, though, and I did get permission for this one. It happens with a lot of clients, by the way. But this one, we just both got the giggles talking about it. This client, I can't remember how old the kid was. I don't know, 10 or 12 or something. And the mother said, well, I did exactly what you said on the behavior board. I said, okay, now the kid broke a rule. So the parent said, okay, so your consequence is you have to empty the dishwasher and in 15 minutes. Like within 15 minutes, and the 15 minutes starts now. And she said, and then her kid gave her the finger and told her to F off. And I said, okay, so must have been a teenager. I can't remember. Anyway, so I said, well, show me what you did. And I've told this story many times. I just thought it was hilarious. So I said, well, show me how you did it, because we'd been working together for a couple of weeks. So it shouldn't have happened that way, So anyway. So I said, show me what you did. And she goes, okay, so you've got 15 minutes. And I said, you just rolled your eyes. And she said, no, I didn't. I said, yeah, you did. And I said, do it again. You got 15 minutes. I said, you did it again. Try it one more time. She goes, okay, you got 15 minutes. Even relaying it to me, she couldn't not roll her eyes. So I said, next time, do it like this. You got 15 minutes. She just couldn't not roll her eyes. She couldn't not show disgust at her kid. So anyway, what my point with that story is, so much of it is tone of voice, body language, and facial expressions. A huge part of this. That's like a good example of this is that 8-year-old kid that I'd never met before, and he didn't know who I was. And I was asked to work with him. I'd heard about him, and he was a handful. And as soon as they left, he was left with me. And then he said to me, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said to him, bring it on. Just like that. That's all I said. He was good as gold. You could see it. He looked at me like this. Oh, she knows what she's doing. And he was good as gold with me. He was wonderful. But you know what I did? I was leaning in when I was talking to, when I first met him. Hi there, and he goes, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. I was leaning forward like this. As soon as he said that, I went like this. Bring it on. And then I went silent. Work like a charm. Body language, facial expression, words, calmness. Works a charm. The problem is that if you haven't, like I had no history with him, you could see he thought, oh, she knows what she's doing. So and it was almost like the more difficult the kid, the easier, the quicker they are for me to turn around. Because it's almost like they go like this. Oh, finally a leader. That's what they're searching for. That's what they're screaming for. That's what he was basically begging me for, was a leader. I gave it to him. So he was great with me. Anyway, the teacher later said, how did you do that? He was so good with you. And I said, oh, I just asked him to have a fit. Anyway, so yeah, think about it. You've got some history with kids, so it's harder. You're going to have to erase the past a bit more. But think about that. How would you feel if you threatened someone and they said, well, bring it on? It's kind of disarming. There's no challenge to it either. Well, a little bit, but there's really no bring it on. There's no anger. Like, bring it on. I know what I'm doing. There's none of that. Oh, that's an accelerant. That's weak. Strength is just, yeah, bring it on. Like, in other words, so nothing to do with me. I don't care. Do whatever you want. It's up. You see, I don't get involved in that stuff. They can't pull me in. I can't be manipulated. Makes all the difference. Oh, God, I got someone, Briley. I'm not answering that. Just go somewhere else. Okay. I'm having extreme difficulty being a leader. That's a really good point, because I'm not a leader in my personal life at all. I'm a follower, only in my inner circle, people I really care about and trust. But I'm very much a follower by nature. It's not my nature to be a leader. But with kids, I'm very maternal. And I know how leadership, I know it gets me where I want to go. I want to be fun with kids. I want to be friends with kids. I just want to laugh and enjoy them. So I know the leadership is the way to do that. That's why I do it. Plus, I want them to have high self-esteem. That's why I do it. It's easy for me because I know the results. I've been doing this for 50 years. I haven't changed. I was just talking to my daughter about this morning. I haven't changed the way I communicate with kids for 50 plus years. I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11. I led with fun then, and I lead with fun now. I lead with fun and humor with kids. That's how I lead. That's the most important thing, is the connection. Congratulations on becoming a grandma. Yeah, she's over a year now. I wasn't that excited about being a grandma, in that she's not mine. I can't take her home. It's someone else's kid. But it's amazing. The second they pop out, you absolutely fall in love with them, just like your own kids. It is, yeah. It's not as much fun though, because she doesn't live with me. So how can that be as much fun? I love mothering. It was the most fun I ever had. So she's someone else's kid. And it is fun watching your kids parent. I'm enjoying it. It's very rewarding to see your kids raise their kids. I find that very, I think I like that even more. It's heartwarming. They're doing a fantastic job. Okay. I just seen a video with my hat. Yeah, the grandma cap. I wear that to the gym all the time, just so people get out of my way. Like I'm a grandmother. Get out of my way. Does it work? No, they're still hogging the machines. Okay, this is a good question, but not for the reason you're going to think. Just a sec. Shoot, it just scrolled ahead. Drats. I can't find it. Can't find it. Okay, someone said, I'm genuinely curious if you have a degree. Not ill intent. Listen to your content less. Okay, no, I don't. And it's interesting because, and I would never want one, because then I'd be held to that pocket. I'd be held under that umbrella. Thank God I never did that. I was going to be a child psychologist. So I started school. I went there I was about 20 or something. And I went and they kicked me out after a week. Why do you think they kicked me out? Because I asked too many questions. I thought what they were saying was a bunch of crap. I didn't agree with any of it. And then the other students started asking me questions about kids. I'd already been working with, volunteering with kids since I was 11. So I had 10 years under my belt of really getting respect with kids. I kind of just always was good at this. And, but yeah, thank God I never did that. Thank God. It was garbage. And that was 40 plus years ago. So I'm sure they've gotten better at it now. But at the time, it was so patronizing. I couldn't believe it. You weren't supposed to admit when you were wrong. You were supposed to sort of always have the answers. Oh my God, it was crap. I thought, are you freaking kidding me? Thank God I never did that. I would have been I would have broken free for sure. It wouldn't have suited me. Kids taught me everything I know. Kids taught me. And they're the teenagers are the ones who said, you got to teach this stuff, Lisa. No one's ever talked to us like you do. So yeah, it's all just common sense stuff. It's on what do they call that? On the job training. Yeah. And a lot of my clients are child psychologists and that, and I couldn't do their job, by the way. Yeah, it's just they're very different. Parenting is very different from that. And a huge portion of my clients are teachers and principals and child psychologists. Also, about 40% of my clients last year were Jewish. And I couldn't figure it out. I kept saying, because I had to respect Sabbath and all, and I learned a lot about the Jewish religion. And, a lot of them don't use technology in certain weekends and all this stuff. So it was really interesting. And then I found out later that it's actually quite in line. We both like a lot of structure and discipline and, and it was quite interesting. That was why, a lot of rabbis were talking about me. So I find that fascinating. I didn't know anything about the Jewish religion. Still don't know much, but I know a little bit more. That's what's so fascinating about my job. I meet so many people that I wouldn't normally meet out there in the world from all over the world. Like, it's just been fascinating. And also, you have to respect, sometimes I'll be working with someone overseas and the man is the head of the household, would never be on a behavior board because it's just not, it's culturally different. Also, they're often living in 3 or 4 generation households, and you can never, and the older generations are often correcting the kids, and you can't go against them. So I have to work with all that. It's really fascinating. I love it. Absolutely love it. So I'm just scrolling ahead to make sure you're still here. Would you say girls are harder on their mothers? I have a superstar. No, absolutely not. I've never found a difference between girls and boys in that some of them are. Girls are definitely can be more moody earlier on because they can start getting a period at 9. So it's when the hormones kick in. But yeah, overall, I would say no. I get just as many clients with girls as boys and blah, blah, blah. I'm Muslim. Absolutely love you. Some of my clients are Muslim. Yeah, it's fascinating. Just because, these are people that I would normally not know, and I'm learning so much about, especially food. Oh my God, some of the food they talk about, I'm drooling. So anyway. It's such a good question. And I'm very, I'm very transparent, very honest. Have you had any parents who couldn't turn it around? Yeah, of course. Because it's like you can teach diet, a really good, healthy diet, but not everyone's going to lose weight. It's kind of like that. They have to be ready. Oftentimes they'll come back to me and then they say, okay, I'm ready. And then they'll succeed the next time, or sometimes I'll never hear from them, or they'll get some small wins, but then they'll start to relax and they don't follow it through. Getting respect is hard work. Maintaining it's easy. I say you got to keep going till you know you're that leader, and you will know when you're a leader because the kids are going to be happier. It's just everything's easier. But yeah, it's still, I'm dealing with people here. You got to be ready to do this stuff. And I've never said it was easy. Getting respect is really hard work. You got to earn it. Don't expect it to be handed to you on a silver platter, this leadership. You got to earn it. You got to work for it. When I was working with kids, I worked my butt off to get their respect. But once I did, smooth sailing. Once you've got it, maintaining it's easy. But I had to prove myself. Believe me, I specialize in troubled teenagers. Believe me. I don't know why I always get emotional when I talk about them. I think because they taught me so much about life and so much about patience I never knew I had until I worked with them. They were always testing me initially. It was, and they could be quite brutal. Okay. After removing the fun from the child, good question. After removing the fun from the child or vice versa, what comes next? They tend to just go back. You got to keep doing it. If they're 2 years old and they keep hitting, you say no and you remove them. Then you grab them before they can hit again if you see it coming. So it's just repetition, and some redirection in there too. Say no if they keep doing it. Say, okay, now let's go over here. We're going to do this now. So you can kind of do a little bit of redirecting, but it's just going to be brutal. It just is. It's just brutal. They'll usually melt down and drop to the floor, though, after about 4 or 5 times of you pulling them away and not let them have that tantrum. Then when they calm down, then you can redirect. It's kind of confusing, and there's lots of different ways of doing it. That's just one way or one sequence and how you do it. That's a good question. What if she hits during meltdowns? If they're under the age of 3, there's not much you can do about that. But if they're 3 and above and you've put no hitting on the behavior board, after they finish the meltdown that they've been hitting you during, then you say, okay, let's go to the board. So no hitting is your rule and you hit. Never mention a tantrum. Never. Makes you look weak. Trust me, just don't ever mention a tantrum. So say, okay, so the rule was no hitting and you hit me, but you were upsetting me. So your consequence is this, and I'm going to get you to wash this window and here, just follow through, keep talking. Don't let them manipulate you. Okay. Where am I? Am I on TikTok? Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm looking at the time. Yeah, okay. How do you deal with tantrums? If you look up, I'm going to look it up. I'm going to Google it just a second. Okay, perfect. If you literally Google BratBusters, the swing story, how you handle tantrums will pop up. It's a 2-year-old true story with my son. So you just Google it. Or BratBusters, the pool story, BratBusters tantrums. It'll come up. Anything that you want to know, I've got thousands and thousands of videos out there, and it kind of addresses all that. Or if you want to look at a course, I do have courses on that. Tantrums are in both of my courses for sure. So yeah, you might want to check that out. Okay. Okay, what age do you talk through the emotions? Okay. This is always misinterpreted, not necessarily your fault, but often my fault, the way I don't really discuss emotions with kids. I work with them. How do I explain that? It's just such a big answer. I never really I don't do therapy sessions with kids. I don't discuss emotions because it's usually the negative stuff that you're talking about, right? I don't discuss it. I deal with bad behavior, then I move on. If they have an absolute fit, hey, it's okay to be mad. You can go scream into a pillow next time. That's about it. Unless they've been abused, I do crisis work. If they've been abused, then I need to discuss that, yes. But I wouldn't tell you how that's done because that's very kind of next level stuff. Yeah, I don't really discuss big feelings, big emotions. That's the therapy session stuff. I know it's trendy right now, but it's kind of crap. If you're a calm leader, it tends to calm them down and they tend to be happier. So you don't need to discuss big emotions and big feelings and all that stuff. I know it's trending, but it's kind of garbage. No, it's not kind of garbage. It is. Very few kids, little ones, need to discuss emotions. It's your language, not theirs. They want to have fun. I know it's trending. I know. That's what I'm up against. I'm okay with that. It's there to feed the moms, by the way. It has nothing to do with the kids. It's there to feed the moms to make them feel better. But those are the moms that end up hiring me down the road because they realize it just backfires. Where you put your energy, where you put your focus is what grows. I put my energy and focus on fun, happiness, joy, and it grows. That's where I put my focus with kids and kind of with everybody in life. I'm kind of a positive person. So I deal with problems, yes, but I don't tend to focus on them, especially with kids. Yeah, the behavior board doesn't start until 3. It's a comprehension thing. They don't really develop their sense of reasoning until 3. And then they don't really develop empathy or have the ability to develop empathy until they're 3 years and 9 months. I've been saying that 3 years and 9 months for decades, and all the professionals were arguing with me. And now a scientist came out. He's some big scientist in the world with kids. And he said, yeah, 3 years and 9 months is when they can develop empathy. I'm telling you that for 50 years. But anyway, empathy is a little bit different. 3 years and 9 months is when they start to understand there's other people in the world who probably feel just like they do. They realize they're not the only ones in the world. They think they kind of get the idea that they're more of one in a big picture. They start to understand that and comprehend it. So prior to that, if they see someone crying and they get upset, it's because they're scared. At 3 years and 9 months, they have the ability to see someone crying and feel bad for them. There's a difference. They don't just get scared. They actually want to help them and feel it. They don't all do that. They don't all have empathy, but they have the ability to develop it. So 3 years and 9 months. I remember watching kids. I was always studying kids, and I thought, yeah, 3 years and 9 months. That's a real turning point. There's something different happens to them. Sorry, I'm going back because I saw the word trauma, so I want to address that. I do specialize in trauma work, so something I don't want to just ignore, but I've missed so many questions here. There we go. I tend to do that because of my trauma. Like I said, it's for you, not for the kids. I'm trying to hold on to the therapy sessions. Yeah, that's for you. That's not for your kids. You parent in a way that doesn't necessarily, you don't want to do necessarily, but you parent for them because it's parenting. It's not for you. If you want to have therapy sessions, you go out and have a drink with your friends. But yeah, don't put that on your kids. Don't put that need of your own onto your children. But yeah, that's what we tend to do. There's a word, I can't remember what the word for that is because I'm not a therapist anyway. I don't know. Oh, what's that called when you put your own stuff on your kids or anybody else? It's transference or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, it's not for them. It's for you. So, but as long as you recognize it, then you can fix it. So I'm not saying you shouldn't do these things. I'm saying oh, like what I mean is not saying that it's bad to do those things, but once you know different, then you might want to rethink it. Once you understand it's for you and not your kids, you want to put them before yourself. There's this old saying that you should always put yourself first. Yeah, life or death. Well, not even that, I guess. No, I always thought that was the stupidest thing. I'm never going to put myself before my kids, ever. And now my grandchild too. I just couldn't do it. So my needs are always secondary. And yeah. Do you provide advice for parents of an 18-year-old? I do, but they have to live at home and they have to be somewhat financially dependent on you, or else you've got no leverage. So, but I do specialize in teenagers. I do cut it off at 18, but they have to be at home and somewhat financially dependent upon you. Children deserve to be understood just as deeply as adults do. Yeah, people deserve to be understood. The thing is that you can express yourself, but I feel like I'm the child's voice whenever I'm talking to you. I don't come from a place of what you need to do. I come from a place of what they need from you. And then I teach you what to do. Like it's all about them. Because I understand kids. I just do. I always did. I was always studying them. I was a kid when I was doing this. And I remember I was 11 volunteering at daycare centers. I was there every day after school for ages. And yeah. And even the daycare ladies used to say, how do you do that? They want to be with you, but they listen to you. I was just always, I guess I was born to do this. I just always found kids fascinating. I found them easy too. I just got it. I know what they need. Yeah. But that's just my own personal experience too. I've been doing this for 50 plus years. So I just speak from my own personal experience. I've never read a book on parenting or kids or anything. It's just, they taught me all this. How do you deal with kids with disabilities like epilepsy? I deal with a lot of children with disabilities or challenges or special needs. But I've worked with a lot of those when I was working with kids or volunteering with kids. But now I work with parents who have kids with disabilities and that. So that would be coaching. Yeah. Children aren't able to advocate for themselves. It's admirable that you do it. Well, I don't know if it's admirable, but I just find it fascinating. But yeah, I'm their voice. I always felt like this. I always felt like I'm telling you what your kids need from you. I'm telling you what your kids need, crave, and want from you. They don't always know it. But once they get it, you can see the difference. Do you understand ADHD kids? It's all the same. ADHD. Yeah, they're not special needs. Yeah. Those are all the kids I learned this with. I didn't learn much with my own kids, to be honest. I already had so much experience with kids by the time I had my own. They didn't teach me much, but I do know how to live with teenagers and raise them into young adulthood now. I would never take parenting advice from someone who hasn't finished the job with their own kids and found it easy. Anyone who talks about all the challenges they had raising kids and now they want to help you, I would run. I would run. If they didn't find it easy, why would you listen to them? But yeah, I know how to live with teenagers and see them into adulthood. Been there, done that. Do you offer one-on-one coaching? Yep. Yeah. Look on my website. That's part of my one of my services. I do have a wait list, but I'll get to you. If you are in crisis and you want to work with me, put down crisis in the description. And if you're a past client, don't go to the website. Go just email me directly because you would already have it. Because my past clients often rehire me, so they take precedence. How to build confidence in a 6-year-old. Do you want self-esteem or confidence? They're different. Self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. Confidence is the ability to get up and do whatever in front of people. Like a lot of people in theater and actors have the lowest self-esteem, but they can get up in front of a crowd. That's confidence. But a lot of people with high self-esteem have very low confidence to get up in front of people too. So there's a difference there. I'm assuming that you mean, no coupons for my course now. Assuming that you mean self-esteem comes from pride in themselves. If they are polite and well-behaved and treat you nice, and of course it's mutual, right? If they have respect for other people, they tend to have respect for themselves and pride. That is where self-esteem comes from. It's how you treat people, how you put yourself out in the world. That is self-esteem. I teach leadership, and leaders tend to raise kids with high self-esteem because you're bringing out the best in them. Think of the pool story. You must have heard it. If you haven't, you can just Google BratBusters pool story. It'll come up. It explains, it's a true story, and it explains how I view leadership. You deal with bad behavior, then you focus on the good kid. And you'll see how I brought up that kid felt like $1 million about himself with me. That was always my goal. When I was working with troubled teenagers, one of them said to me, he said, I didn't like myself until I met you, Lisa. That's leadership. That's it right there. Leaders make people feel good about themselves. That's what a good leader does. You bring out the best in people. That's all I teach here is how to be I don't fix kids. I fix and teach parents. Watching you from New Zealand, George. Hi, George. Love the content. We used to ski in Queenstown. Freaking most adorable little town or village or whatever it is. My God, it was adorable. I just thought it was one of the nicest towns I'd ever been in. Queenstown, South Island, New Zealand. We used to ski. We lived in Australia, so we used to ski in New Zealand with the kids. Okay. 5-year-old has some trauma with little sister having medical emergency. Very emotional lately. Yep. Not much you can do about that. If you want to hire me, we could maybe work through a few little coping mechanisms and try and figure that out. But I don't know if it'd be worth the whole 5 sessions, but that's all I sell is 5-session packages. So, but yeah, the trauma is a big deal for kids. I went through some trauma as a kid, well, especially when my dad died. But yeah, it's hard to fix it, but you can teach them coping mechanisms. But you can't take it away. Like you can't eliminate the memory or anything. Is being stern to the 3-year-old okay? I don't do that. That's the authority style parenting. The authority, I don't do that. Yeah. When I'm disciplining my son, I remember once he said to a kid who was really acting out, I was babysitting him, and the kid said, "Oh, I'll bet your mom's going to yell at me." And my son said, "When my mom whispers, run." That's what I'm disciplining. Oh, that was funny. Yeah, I get real quiet, really calm when I'm disciplining. I'm very calm. So I don't do stern. Stern is bullying. Yeah, I don't do it. Do you ignore attitude, talking back, or give a consequence? I ignore attitude completely, but the only things I address that they say are bad words, like swear words, or name calling. So you can put that on the behavior board. No bad words or name calling, but all the other stuff, let it go. It's just a tell. It means you're not a leader. So it's a tell. It's a sign to you that you got to work on your leadership skills. They do not sass a leader ever. They'd be too embarrassed to. Have you ever had like a coach or someone that you look up to, even as an adult? Would you ever be rude to that person? It'd be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Ugh. That's what like that's what you do for your kids. They look up to you. They want to please you, but it's mutual. You know, if my kids had ever looked at me disappointed, I would have been upset too. Like it's mutual. It's mutual respect. You give respect to get it. It was not a one-way street. That's the old-fashioned authority style parenting. It's not a horrible way to parent. I mean, they'll turn out okay, but they will rebel in the teen years if they have that in them. They never rebel against a leader. They can't. There's nothing to rebel against. My son was 15 and he was kind of mad when he said it. He says, I could never even rebel with you. You're too reasonable and easy to talk to. I go, it's funny. I tried not to laugh. I think I apologized to him, walked away, and then celebrated. So. Yeah, if you want to be a better leader, just keep watching. That's all I talk about here. I've got courses if you're interested. They're on my website, BratBusters.com. We've also got a podcast out now. It's going really well. My daughter and I do it together, but we've got something new coming up. If you're interested in doing this, you might want to fill out a form. It's on the website, BratBusters.com. And if you want to be on the podcast, it would be like coaching. So, yeah, so we're going to try that out, see if it works. We're just here. Actually, this year was going to be the year of the book. And we almost signed with someone too. And I think, oh, we didn't, because the podcast took off. So now we can't do it all. It's just my daughter and I. We can't do everything. And we're not going to water it all down, no matter how much money is thrown after it. We're just not going to do it. So we're only going to do what you guys want. You guys are after that podcast. You're listening to it all the time. Like, it's unbelievable. So yeah, we're going in hard with the podcast, and we're loving it because we do it together. So if you want to be on the podcast, you can fill out a form. Check that out if you're interested. If not, you can just check out my website anyway. It's got a free behavior board, courses on there, coaching, and then the podcast. Yeah, a lot of parents my clients say they listen to the podcast a lot. I'm not a podcast person. I don't know anything about them. My daughter does all that. She figures all that out. But anyway, okay, I'm going to get going now. I got stuff to do tonight still. So thanks so much for joining me. And I hit 825,000 yesterday, I think, or today on TikTok here. 825,000 people, followers. I can't even comprehend that. So thanks so much for your support. It's not taken for granted at all. I respect you. I'm on here to help you. I'm on here to make you happier parents with happier kids. That is always my goal. Okay. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye now.